Welcome, everybody. This is Corey with FantasySportFans.com. Yet again, I have Seth next to me. How are you doing, Seth?
I'm kind of curious why you said welcome. You said two welcomes.
Yeah. Anyway, I have a question for you, Seth. What qualifies for a good trade? What is a good trade in a fantasy football league? How do you go about completing a good trade?
You hit submit. No, I'm joking. What really makes a good trade is simply trying to figure out, like, what I'm normally doing is I'm looking at who's in last place.
Who's in last place?
Who's in the bottom few spots?
Who's in last place and who has an elite player is what you're looking at.
Exactly, man. I'm looking at who's got the elite player that I want. And what do I have that they need? And normally, I'm only asking for their one player, and I'm looking at my bench. I'm not even usually even looking at my starters. I'm looking at my bench, and I'm saying, you know what? I bet these two players could do well for that guy. You know, say I've had two quarterbacks, I have one on my bench. I have my starter, of course. I'm looking at, does this person need a legit quarterback? Because obviously if I have a quarterback on my bench, it's usually because I've been harboring one that's really, really good.
Yeah, and you can find one later on in the drafts, a.k.a. RG3, who you can use as trade bait later.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm looking at is, say, like someone in last place, you know, are they dealing with just a garbage quarterback? And I have that quarterback for them. And say, do they have that one wide receiver that I'm missing? That one wide receiver that's going to put me over that marker where I want to be.
And usually if you're in last place, there are multiple positions that need to be upgraded. It's not just one position that is making you be in last place. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you're gonna laugh at this, but and most people, and actually most of our listeners are probably gonna laugh at this, but don't underestimate it. If you have a legit solid kicker, and normally kickers are going last in the draft, but
very last.
But
if you pick a kicker before the last round, you're insane.
But think about this. If, say, you have Steven Gostkowski, this guy put up a huge amount of points last year just as a kicker.
Right.
Okay. Say the person he's dealing with is, say, like the kicker for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
you know,
he's having a terrible year.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't even name who that is right now. To be honest,
it's a no one. Who are you?
Yeah,
right?
Who are you?
Okay. So I'm saying, you know what? I even got a kicker, and say I got a tight end. And this guy is dealing with a garbage tight end because there's not that many great tight ends out there.
No, there's 3, 4, 5 maybe.
Exactly. And I think there's even just
after
a few
that,
more
it's
than
a
that.
It is a toss-up.
It's a coin flip. And what I'm saying is, say I got those two players, but that person has my wide receiver. I'm going to propose those two guys to that player, and I'm going to see if I can extract that wide receiver because he's an all-star. He's an elite player. He has no business being on a last-place team because he belongs on mine. And that is why I'm making that trade. And I'm giving two players that could be better for him because if I'm looking around, I can find a good kicker somewhere on the waiver wire that's probably out there. It's just the person who's in last place probably hasn't thought of that yet.
So you're going to bundle a couple of players to get that elite player to help another team out.
Every single time.
Every time.
If I can get away with only giving away one player for that one elite player, which for some reason I don't ever see that hardly happening, but if I can do that, man, I have literally struck the gold mine.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's the only way. Well, it's not the only way, but that's the main way to get an elite player on your team is by bundling players together and trying to help out multiple positions for that other team to just get them back into the running.
I just see it's for me and my experience, I've never seen where you can trade with somebody who's in the 2, 3, 4 spot in your league who's either behind you or ahead of you by those spots to where you're trading a good player for one of their elite players. You know, I don't ever see that hardly happening because they don't want to give you an elite player because you're too close to them, you know, or, you know, vice versa. And you don't want to do that, you know, especially in your shoes because say you're giving two players, well, say they haven't even reached their potential of the season yet.
Right.
and all of a sudden they go nuts. Well, all of a sudden you made a bad trade. They just skyrocketed with wins, and that one elite player, well, guess what, man? I got you a couple more wins, but the other player's doing a hell of a lot better.
All right. Thank you, Seth.
No problem.